Story 1. Bus driver analogy. Your mind is the bus, your thoughts are the passengers, and you are the driver. Sometimes your thoughts are unruly or unpleasant, but if you stop the bus to go back and fight with them each time, your bus will not go anywhere. Instead, focus on driving the bus and let your thoughts get off at their stop. It is a strained analogy, and I am probably not the best at explaining it, but it helps me stop ruminating on things that have taken up too much space in my head for too long. Plus, I get to imagine a bus, so I guess that is a win. Story 2. Divorcing my abusive, lazy, mostly unemployed ex-husband with 2 children under 2 years old and moving thousands of miles away with the kids was challenging. They were not even in elementary school yet. It was difficult being a single mother with zero support from anyone, but I managed to get good jobs and soon bought my own house. My children are now in their 20s. The oldest is a teacher and bought a house at 22. The youngest just finished her master's degree in biology and is soon to start her Doctor of Philosophy degree. Both graduated college with zero debt because they worked part-time since age 16 and full-time during summers, saving all their earnings to pay for college. I never dated anyone again because I realized I did not choose good men, and I did not want to risk my children's well-being by bringing another unsuitable person into our lives. These choices were drastically better for all of our mental health. Story 3. Stopped isolating myself from friends and family. I was going through some difficulties, but as I started spending more time with my loved ones, it gave me the motivation to move forward. Story 4. Moving to the tropics. The rainforest is honestly so healing. I find it incredibly hard not to feel content while in the mountains surrounded by life that has stood almost unchanged since the dinosaurs walked the same paths, or the beaches covered in stone that has been slowly carved by the ocean in time, sitting on volcanic rock shaped by the ocean, where new land met the sea and wrote stories of time together. I used to live in a suburban city. It was cold half the time. You could see smog over the city on the horizon like a dome of filth. Everyone clawing their way over each other like rats in a sewer trying to make their way to the top. It was horrible. People say good day as you pass them here. Story 5. Therapy gave me the tools to learn to love myself and realize I do not have to help everyone. I now live for myself. Service to others is important, but it should not be your whole role in life. If one does not love oneself, they cannot truly love others in a healthy way. Story 6. Joining a fitness class that works for me. Starting the day with exercise, which releases endorphins and creates a feeling of accomplishment, works wonders for my mood and outlook. That positive energy multiplies into every aspect of your day. Story 7. Standing up for myself against my mother. I stopped getting pulled into her games and kept everything straightforward, without emotions. I've set boundaries with her and I'm not letting them go this time. I won't believe anything she says without proof. She lies a lot about insignificant things. She has always been my biggest emotional abuser. I've let go of thinking of her as a mother and those expectations. Feels good. It's still incredibly hard, but I'm much less stressed. I quit drinking over a year ago. I had 2 setbacks triggered by my mother. Considering I was drunk for 10 years, I will allow it. I am 99% certain I am finally done. Also, my dog made everything much better. She gets most of my focus. She is the only living being I truly care about. She is my best friend. She and I have the strongest bond. She knows me better than anyone ever has. Without her, I know I would be living a completely different life, if at all. Story 8. Deleting all social media except for one chat application, WhatsApp in my case, but that depends on where you live and what you use. Going to bed and waking up at the same time every day with about 8 hours in between. Story 9. A mentor told me that the job I am mentally exhausting myself to pursue is not curing cancer. It is a simple idea, but for some reason, I never considered that nothing is that serious. Story 10. I work in healthcare. To be honest, people have become so unpleasant and mean that it is really draining. On top of the difficulty of taking care of people on the worst day of their lives. No one wants to go to the hospital, especially in the United States, where it creates an immediate financial burden. I just tell myself that we are all doing our best, and if it has to be someone doing the difficult work that needs to be done, it might as well be me and my team of experts. Knowing that if we were not there, things would definitely be worse for our unwilling clients helps me sleep at night. Otherwise, I am a pretty calm person and not much bothers me. Story 11. The art of not responding. Some people and conversations are better left ignored. No response is a response. Story 12. I stopped isolating myself. Self-isolation never made me feel good about myself. I apologized to everyone I ignored and reconnected with my friends. We all need connection. Story 13. Daily cardiovascular exercise. A run every morning. I am not exaggerating when I say it took my chronic anxiety disorder from being almost unbearable to perfectly manageable. I cannot speak highly enough of it. Human bodies evolved to move. A walk is just as good as a run. But every morning changed my life. Story 14. This one is going to be different. I put my mom in a nursing home. I was her full-time caregiver for 11 years, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. She reached a point where her care was too much for me to handle, both physically and mentally. I was always angry and one minor inconvenience away from a meltdown or shutdown. I was losing friends because of this. I knew based on her condition that she would not be with us much longer, and I really don't think I could have handled finding out she passed. I got a new job that I absolutely love. I love it so much that I wake up every morning looking forward to going to work. I miss my job on my days off. For the first time since I was in school, when someone asks me how I am and I say, good, I genuinely mean it. Story 15. I have started walking and going to the gym instead of staying in bed all day. Even doing bodyweight exercises is beneficial. It makes me feel somewhat better, as if I am not doing nothing and am doing something good for my mental health. The best way to combat depression is exercise, and I wish more people knew this. Story 16. Stop caring about what people think of you and trust your own gut and intuition more. Also, if you are young, go do anything. Story 17. Moving out of living with family, whether on my mom's side or dad's side, was difficult. Paying adult bills is challenging, but it is much better for my mental health. Story 18. Not hanging out with people who dislike me, and not spending time with people around whom I constantly have to suppress myself. Recognizing immediately when someone has little or no respect for me and removing them from my life. Recognizing when people are projecting and stopping it. And not wasting time arguing with someone who has already made up their mind about me or a situation. And not letting someone accuse me of doing or saying something I did not do. Story 19. Realizing that caring about what people I do not like think about me is a waste of time, and that caring about what the people I care about think of me is all that matters. Trying to be someone else so people will like you is a waste of time. Being yourself will bring the people you want to be around in the first place. Story 20. Psychedelics. Following through with whatever revelations one had on psychedelics, exercise, diet, quitting substances, etc. Actually quit social media for a couple of weeks. It does not take long to notice the difference. You have to give yourself time to see the world again. Do not watch news constantly. Do not drink alcohol. Story 21. Honestly, I thought slowing down my cannabis use would be a big improvement, but it really was not. I realized I was doing much better when I returned to my old habits. Story 22. Putting my phone on Do Not Disturb with certain exceptions to allow critical communications and security notices for most of the day. I only take it off to clear notifications from social media and other apps, then turn it back on. I have attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, so the constant barrage of notifications affected me for years, and I did not realize it until I tried this. Story 23. Going on daily walks, even just 10 to 15 minutes, sounds small, but moving my body, being outside, and not staring at a screen make everything feel more manageable. It is a total reset button. Story 24. After a divorce, I was in a deep, dark place. A friend gave me ecstasy, also known as 3,4-methylene-dioxymethamphetamine. I stayed at home, laid on the floor, fell in love with the universe and myself, and my heart healed. Story 25. I movement desensitization and reprocessing, continuous sobriety, having a support system, Alcoholics Anonymous sponsor, my Alcoholics Anonymous sponsees. Sometimes it is seeing in others what I do not wish for myself, living close to my beloved sister and nieces, and I saved the best for last, Jesus. Story 26. I was vitamin B12 deficient. Taking supplements seemed to have a noticeable effect, more than antidepressants to be fair. Story 27. Stop caring so much about what others think about me, as that is their business, not mine. Life-changing, seriously. Story 28. Walking. I still have issues with anxiety, but walking for 2 to 3 hours nonstop leaves me feeling a lot better every time. I also get a Thai massage occasionally. The last time, I felt like I was literally high for a few hours afterward. Story 29. Working out consistently, particularly strength training, is important. Any workout regimen that gets the blood flowing and leads to physical improvement also results in mental improvement. Story 30. Working out. Feeling off? Work out. Feeling happy? Work out. Not in the mood for anything? Try a gentle workout. I swear it helps to get your blood flowing so your brain is not stagnant all the time. Story 31. Starting olanzapine, a strong antipsychotic, to treat my severely out-of-control bipolar disorder was like stepping out of a dark cave to see the sky for the first time. Many years later, after I had things under control, stopping olanzapine was like stepping out of a dark cave to see the sky for the first time. Story 32. Being completely guilt-free of being myself, even if it contradicted others' expectations, especially those of my parents. Story 33. Working out. I do 3 classes a week with 2 other colleagues. One is also the instructor. I also do other classes on my own. I think my true saving grace is dancing, so I go to a lot of live concerts. Story 34. I can't figure it out. I feel like I'm spiraling regularly. I exercise a lot, work a good job, have hobbies, and spend time with friends and family. Yet, I still can't commit to a good sleep schedule, and I can't quit drinking. I know if I quit drinking, it could be the answer to all my problems, but I'm either too weak-willed or I don't want it enough. I can't bear the idea of being sober all the time. I like the altered state of mind, I like the sedation, and I like having something to look forward to after I've socialized, worked hard, eaten well, and exercised. Story 35. Going to a psychologist. Started going to the gym. Scheduled Sunday morning walks in nature. Started going to bed earlier at a consistent time. Cut my drinking down to special occasions, and even then much more measured. 0% beers are the best. Story 36. Allowing myself to have a rest day or rest hours once a week. Like Friday nights, I watch television, play a game on my phone, eat dinner, eat dessert, and just turn my brain off. I usually watch reality television or a show I have already seen before. I am such an overthinker, and it kind of helps me recharge. Story 37. Decent sleep patterns. I had to work on it and use melatonin until I established a good pattern. Story 38. Honestly, just sitting down and reflecting on myself changed a lot. I started to realize how much unhealed trauma I carry, that I have an avoidant attachment style, and that I struggle with social anxiety. Understanding these parts of myself helped me stop blaming myself and start healing. Story 39. Writing down each day what was the best part or thing that happened that day. Sometimes it is literally just, I could go to bed, it was over, but overall it made me appreciate the small things. Enjoy the little happy moments and do not just chase the major happy moments. Also, finishing work on time. Story 40. Getting a dog and walking the dog for at least 1.5 hours per day. Headphones on, listening to good music or a podcast, and just walk. Always feel better afterward. Story 41. Leaving an emotionally abusive marriage after 9 years and quitting drinking. I am not sure which had a bigger impact. In all honesty, it was probably quitting alcohol. Story 42. Realizing that what was wrong with me my whole life is attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, and then learning how to improve my life with ritual and schedule is wonderful. I see it as a superpower now, after being told my whole life I was a lazy person, a procrastinator, and disruptive. Story 43. Quitting alcohol and making music. Having a creative outlet cheers me up and gives me a sense of accomplishment even if I have a bad day. Story 44. Eating more fresh produce and less takeout. Watching more movies and television shows instead of short-form content. Finding hobbies that do not involve screens. Basically, slowing down and not overstimulating my mind all the time. Story 45. Keeping my kitchen clean and having a tidy space really helps start my day off right. Story 46. Trying 3,4-methylenedioxymethamphetamine and psilocybin mushrooms for the first time really shows how depressed all of us are in the rush hour and rat race of living to work instead of working to live. Life-changing experiences for the better, in my opinion. Story 47. Abilify is used as an add-on treatment for adults with major depressive disorder when an antidepressant alone is not enough. Story 48. Counseling with someone who truly understood my experience has helped me regain most of my confidence. I am no longer dwelling on how much I resented my elementary school special education teacher after she said I would not amount to anything. I am not at 100% yet, but I am doing better than I was in 2020, 2021, or earlier. Story 49. I answered there already. It was posted 15 hours before this one. Story 50. I will give you 3. Getting sober from alcohol. 2. Lithium for suicidal thoughts. 3. Spending more time outside. Story 51. Realizing that my happiness is more important than what other people think about me. Also, I don't like everyone, and I can't expect everyone to like me. Story 52. Keep looking for words and experiences about it. There are many people like you. Connect with them because they can understand you. Also, true psychology and medicine. Story 53. Setting specific goals annually and keeping myself accountable. Reducing contact with friends who only want to share negative experiences. Drinking less alcohol and exercising more. Story 54. Stopping hard drugs and alcohol, getting proper sleep, and eating healthy food has changed my life. I now have a fresh start. Story 55. Short-term, cocaine. Long-term, Adderall. Turned out I had undiagnosed attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, and that's why cocaine, which is a stimulant, improved my life for a while. Concentration, motivation, work productivity, assertiveness, and sexual drive all improved. I went to the doctor for heart palpitations and told him I had a lot of issues focusing with energy and procrastinating. Then I started using cocaine and it helped with all of those. He referred me to a psychiatrist. She diagnosed me with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder and said I might have had it all my life, which makes sense. She told me to stop using cocaine and gave me a prescription for Adderall. My life has never been better. Story 56. Having a regular schedule has helped me greatly. I went from a job where my hours were unpredictable to a standard 9 to 5. Having routines calms my anxiety. When my schedule felt random, I used to have major insomnia, did not eat regular meals, and could not plan anything ahead of time. Now, those are rare occurrences. Story 57. Going no contact with my entire maternal family, then getting eye movement desensitization and reprocessing therapy for the trauma they caused. I would not be here if it were not for that therapy. Story 58. I am disabled and receive in-home care. However, in the past 10 years, I have rarely received consistent support. There are long wait lists and many excuses. Care providers often do not show up or do not stay the allocated time if they do. With Medicaid and likely Medicare cuts, I will probably lose my insurance soon, so it is a moot point. Story 59. Being cut out of my husband's former partner's life. We bent to their will constantly to keep the peace, and then one time we set a very reasonable boundary. They exploded and cut us out completely. Before that, I did not realize just how much the former partner and her husband were literally tearing me apart from the inside. Story 60. Gratitude. Every night and every morning I think about everything I am grateful for. It has totally changed my perspective. Mindfulness. Staying in the present moment. Not letting past events haunt me and not worrying about future events. Stay grounded and in the moment. Right now, at this very second, I am okay and everything is okay. Nature. Going outside and taking in the beauty of nature. taking a walk and looking at how beautiful the flowers, trees, and sky are. Story 61. Learning the unspoken rules of socializing and learning to assume positive intent with anyone I meet. These things dissolve your doubts and fears, which are things that clutter your mind and compel you to waste energy dealing with what you perceive as obstacles. Learning to offer help to someone when I see the opportunity. Learning to always put the interest of the other person first and my own gains last. This can be just in very small things like talking to someone. How is my talk affecting them? Is it helping or hurting them? Learning to use Control+Z when my text disappears, or if I want to make a correction. Story 62. I went back to doing things I loved before my current corporate job took the last bit of happiness I had. I stopped doing anything because I was always at my office but never gained anything from it. I returned to running after a 4-year hiatus and started spending more time by myself, which I didn't realize I needed so much. More date nights with my spouse and more time on the couch with my dog. I didn't realize how much I missed them even though I saw them every day. I started giving myself manicures again and putting effort into my outfits. I used to love fashion, but this job killed it. I also got a haircut I have to style after being told for years I was low maintenance. I've always loved styling my hair. You'd be surprised how all these small things add up. I also hired a therapist. Story 63. Once a week I have 2 hours to myself. My fiancé and our toddler hang out together while I go out and do something for me. Usually, I grab a coffee and go to the mall or walk a trail. It has really helped me feel more like my own person. As a family, we go to the library once a week, take nightly walks, and after the toddler is in bed, we do a 30-minute cleanup before doing our own thing. I guess it is a routine that benefits me. Story 64. Tapping out to my depression and getting the help that I needed. I now see a therapist every week, and what a turnaround it has been. The support has been very helpful. Story 65. Recognizing that my whole family are a bunch of cynical narcissists and accepting that I was living in a lie. Story 66. Going for a long drive down a winding road. No phone, no distractions. Just taking in the scenery. Very cathartic. Story 67. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I feel like every single day is bringing me closer to suicide after more than a decade of fighting depression. Story 68. Quitting marijuana and alcohol not only improved my mental health significantly, even though I was not a heavy user. Story 69. Humility. There was a point in my life when I was on the verge of falling into paranoid dementia. I became increasingly paranoid until I had a moment of clarity. I was hiding in a field when it suddenly occurred to me that I was a homeless kid who was 17 years old. Why did I think the Federal Bureau of Investigation, Central Intelligence Agency, and everybody else was out to get me? In the wider scheme of things, I was nothing. That really brought me back to reality. Story 70. Yes, I get the same except the eye contact. I am not good at that, but I have a high intelligence quotient. Still, I feel inferior though. Story 71. The average autistic. I am not very good with the page and have not yet figured out how it works, but I am trying. I also have a Facebook page with the same name. Story 72. Just my experience. I suffer from bipolar disorder, borderline personality disorder, and generalized anxiety disorder. I used to self-harm and have been hospitalized many times. What saved my life was Jesus. Reading the Bible has helped me manage some symptoms, mostly of borderline personality disorder and anxiety. I continue with my medication treatment, but thanks to the Bible and God, I have not been hospitalized in 2 years, whereas before I would go once or twice a year. I am so happy to be saved now, and my progress has been significant. Story 73. Talking with Chat Generative Pre-trained Transformer with therapy modules from the library, developing more compassion for myself, quitting drugs, reducing psychiatric medications, getting a dog, and ceasing news watching. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.